So Success Club is the points you get for signing new people up and getting them started on their journey. So with Success Club 10, we have Taylor Ramos, and don't mind me, I'm probably going to butcher half your names. Sydney White, Kelly Marks, Jennifer Smith, Emma Carney, Emily Hollister, Dina Leiden, Brooke Reed. With 12, we have Paige Hines, Nicole Gant, Kelsey Connor, Jaden Kalk, Ida Elizabeth Koning, Cassie Jackson, Priscilla Sosa, Megan Worthman, Caitlin Teft. With 16, we have Carrie Steelman-Schmidt. With 18, we have Kim Roberts. And then with Success Club 20, we have Destiny Melendez. With Success Club 24, we have Sydney Thompson. 28, we have Michelle Cahill and Megan Jones. With 30, Bailey Glanzer. And with 34, Ashley Feldison. And then we have what we call the big board. And this is the board, if it will load. Okay, so these are the diamond and above coaches who have cycled, which means those $18 cycles that add up real quick. And this is the long-term income. That's super exciting. So with 3 cycles, we have Jennifer Reeve, Casey McFadden, Kate McGinty, Amanda Johnson, Jennifer, I always butcher your last name, Jennifer, I'm sorry, Teresa Keitlinger, Essence Lawrence, and Jonalyn Pedro. With 4 cycles, we have Mary Beth Darling, Nicoletta Sitowitz, Delaney Slessen, Ida Elizabeth Koning, Melissa Weber, Eric Connor, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, and Christina Tropiano. With 5, we have Lauren Latieri, Sydney Thompson, and her second business center, and Heather Green. With 6, we have Marie S. Attaway and her second business center, Nick Waltz, Kelly Marks, Rachel Falda, and Susanna Bell. With 7, we have Corey Owlin, Samantha Benko. With 8, we have Lauren Kellum and Amy Ecker in her second business center. 9 cycles is Michelle Katz, Bethany Wilfredo, and Kate Teft. With 10, we have Kim Roberts, Kelsey Connor, Bailey Glanzer, Pat Reelman in his third business center, Lindsay Elena, Robert Rodriguez, Daniel Ann Rame, Lauren Bainman, Terry Bachlet, and Ashley Feldison in her second business center. 15 cycles, Craig Schmidt, Carolyn Nathan, Anne-Marie Cohen, Brooke Reed, Megan Wortham, Megan Jones, and Kate Schultes in her second business center. With 20, Gage Ecker and Michelle Cahill. 25 cycles, Tyler Schmidt, Charles Wallace, and Carrie Steelman-Schmidt. 30 cycles, Marie S. Attaway, Cassie Jackson, Curtis Schultes, and Shauna Valenta. With 45 cycles, Amy Ecker. With 60, Sydney Thomas, 62, Pat Reelman in his second business center. In the hundreds area, we have 104 with Kate Schultes, 130, Andrea Wallace, 133, Michelle Phillips, Beth Reelman at 138. We have 150 for Ashley Feldison and 193 for Pat Reelman. All right, so let me see who's in the waiting room. All right, so I am really big on like action-oriented stuff, especially when setting goals and going into a new year. And we can all hope that 2021's better, but 2021's not going to be much different if we don't make that change and go into it intentionally. So this first activity is, I actually got it off a podcast that I had listened to last week. I did it with my team last week. If you are on my team, I promise I'm doing new stuff after this first activity. It's not bad to do again. So you're gonna want a piece of paper, one that you don't necessarily care about. Again, that'll make sense. And with each of these activities, it'll go for like the length of a song. I'll tell you the song that you can play. I'm not gonna play it because it's always funky through Zoom, but it does. I did it with the song without, and it's just different with the song. So if you want to play it, you can play it. So first, I want you to write down every single negative thought you have about yourself. And this will kind of come around full corner. and it's okay to get emotional and hit you in the feels. So the song that goes with this one is It's Not the End of the World by Katy Perry. So it's about 3 minutes, and you're literally just going to jot down every negative thing and like just demolishing thing you have to say about yourself. And I promise again, it will come back around. So you can start that now, and then I will come back on as soon as it is done. All right, so I'll finish that part up. Now, what I want you to ask yourself is if those thoughts are something you actually want to carry into 2020. Is that what you want to go in intentionally thinking about yourself in 2021? If you take those thoughts into 2021, is it really going to be a different kind of year? And obviously, you don't, because they're all negative and untrue things that you're telling yourself. Like, you need to be your biggest hype. You need to be your own personal cheerleader, because you're the only one you can count on to be your own cheerleader. So you're going to take that piece of paper and you're going to rip it up, because you're not going into 2021 with those thoughts. You're going to say RIP to those thoughts, and you're going to move past them because they're not true. And you are so much more worthy than what you have written down on that piece of paper. So you're going to start with ripping them up, and you're not taking those thoughts into 2021, and just get rid of them. So obviously, I know it's not actually that simple as ripping up a piece of paper and those thoughts imaginary, and they all go away. But now we get to set those intentions and those thoughts that you do want to think about yourself and how you want to live your life and who you want to be in 2021, because I guarantee it's not what you just wrote on that piece of paper. So rip it up. And now you're going to write down the kind of person you want to be. Who do you want to be? How do you want to live your life? What kind of mother, sister, brother, daughter, or wife, whatever it is, how do you want to live your life? And how do you want to show up as? So you're gonna write as all this down, write who you want to show up every day, how you want to live your life, who you're gonna be. And you can do it to the song Daisies by Katy Perry. And we'll go through that song, and then again I'll pop back on and we'll keep going. All right. So now that you have a much better list to go into 2021 with, this is how are you going to show up in the way that you want to show up, not how everyone else tells you have to show up or how you tell yourself that you deserve to show up as. You need, like I said, you need to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be your own hype girl, because again, you are the only person you can rely on. You're the only actions, only your mind you can control. Whatever it is, you are in control of how you treat yourself, how you think about yourself. And when you start looking at yourself in a higher degree than you are, you start living in a higher level, which is typically the life that you want to live and the life that you're striving for. So you have to start talking to yourself like you deserve that. So don't write off 2020. And the reason being is I want you to just write down to look back, because I have other stuff. I don't want you to do it right this second, but I want you to at least find 2 things a month that were good and positive that happened. And as simple as going through your camera roll and look at each month and write down 2 things that good happened each month. And it can be as simple as your kids were laughing and you got to actually be home with them and enjoy their laughter, or you were able to go and enjoy being outside, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be anything crazy and super adventurous, but there are positive things that came out of 2020. So let's not totally write it off. Although it may not have been your best year, there are opportunities that were presented that you were able to take and turn into something that could be positive. So find 2 things each month and write them down, and you'll be able to look back and be like, yeah, this year was rough, but I got to do X, Y, and Z. So now I want you to, we're going to do a couple more lists. And by the end of this, you're gonna be like, I'm done with writing lists. But are you going now that you know how you want to live your life and how you want to show up, are you going to be intentional going into 2021? Or are you just going to go with the flow again? Are you just going to hope things happen? Or are you going to be intentional? Because when you're intentional, that's when great things happen, is because you're focused and you're not just going with the flow and you're not just hoping and wishing. You know how you're going to get there. And when you know how to get there and you have a big enough why, you're going to achieve it, because you're not going to quit. So first, I want you to write down the things that bring you joy. What are things that you actually do that you don't have to convince yourself to do, that when you're done doing them, you don't feel guilty? So not like, oh, I ended up sitting on the couch for 5 hours scrolling TikTok and now I'm all crappy because I didn't get anything done. No, what actually brings you joy? Like maybe you intentionally nap. That's okay. That can bring you joy. But what are things that you don't have to convince yourself to do? What are things that you truly enjoy doing and you benefit from? So I want you to write down the list of things that are going to bring you joy and have brought you joy. And I know it sounds super silly, but we're going to take like 2 minutes and I will pop back on. So write down all the things that bring you joy, like truly bring you joy before and after you do them. Okay, so now that you have a list of things that bring you joy, I want you to now write a list of things that you want to accomplish. Like absolutely no limitations. If you woke up tomorrow living your absolute best life, what would it look like? And I want you to think of all aspects and not just coaching. I want you to think about your personal life. I want you to think about your business. I want you to think about your finances, because when you only focus on your business, it's really easy to forget about your relationship with your husband. And now that's falling apart. Well, you focus on your business. So now you need to you're torn. So I want you to focus on all aspects, as like I said, personal, business, finances. How are you going to wake up? Where are you waking up? What are you doing in the morning? What do your finances look like? Whatever it is, I want you to write a list of what you want to accomplish. Again, no limitations, no excuses, no, oh, it's COVID, no, whatever. I want you to write down a list of what you want to accomplish that would make you feel like your best self. Again, I will do about 2 minutes and then I will hop back on. Just remember, all BS aside, you can find a way to make things happen. So don't write this list holding yourself back. Okay, so now you have a list of these accomplishments you want to see and how you want to live your life and how you feel like your best life would be. I apologize if you hear my lovely 3-year-old not wanting to sleep in back. But now I want you to kind of reverse engineer it. And this is where the actions that you take today is going to build up and create that life. Like one day you are going to live that life if you truly believe it. If you tell yourself every single day that you are going to live that life, you're going to, because you're not going to quit on it. And the only way you're not going to live that life is if you quit. So now I want you to write down the actions that you believe you need to take every day, every week, every month, every year in order to live that life. Do you need to make date nights a priority so that you have a good relationship? Do you need to send invites daily so that you can build your team that is seeing success? Do you need to run team calls? Do you need to show up in your own personal journey to have the health? Do you need to be more present with your children? Whatever it is, write out those actions that you have to do each day, again, each week, each month, each year to accomplish these things, and write them down, because that's what's going to get you there. You know how to accomplish this. You just have to do it and stay consistent and believe in yourself. So again, 2 to 3 minutes, write down, reverse engineer, what actions do you have to take to accomplish that life? Again, you can work through any hard times that are thrown at you to achieve what you want, as long as you tell yourself and you believe in yourself. So 2 to 3 minutes, write it all down. Let's get that action plan going. All right, so now that you wrote down your action plan, your affirmations from before, so the way that you said you wanted to show up each day before, should someone align with this action plan as well? And if it doesn't, you need to reevaluate your actions and figure out what actions you need to take to get there, if that makes sense. And you just need to know who and who you want to be and need to be in order to accomplish those. And you do know that because you already wrote them down. And these little goals, this action plan you just wrote out, is what's going to keep you going to that big picture. It's really easy to fall off track and be like, yeah, that big goal is just way out of my reach. But it's really not, because you have these daily goals that you know that you're going to achieve and you have the control of achieving. And that's what's going to keep you going, is those small achievements that add up to the big picture, because, you know, Team Bloom is all about that overall big picture, which is amazing. So now that you have that part all set, you have the negative, the false thoughts about yourself gone. I will bring you it. Go sit down, please. All gone. You know who you want to show up as. You know what you want to accomplish. You know the things that bring you joy that you get to fall back on when you need to just take a moment for yourself and remember why you're here. And then you have the action plan that you need to do each day. So now going into 2021, you have to have a plan. You can't, again, you have to be intentional. You can't just go willy-nilly. So that's where this calendar came in. If you didn't print it, that's okay. I suggest printing it because this is the first quarter. It's really convenient to have it, but even a piece of paper will do. So I want you to really look at January, February, and March of 2021 and just write on there. And if you don't have specific dates, right next to it, write on a piece of paper, when you're going to run challenge groups. So like our team does like a mashup group we put together of all the programs, and we start a group every single Monday. So I know that every Monday I have a bad group starting, and I have that on my calendar. And then I have like 2 weeks before that, okay, I need to start inviting to that. So first, I want you just to start with if you want to run a free group, if you want to run a specific program group, if you're going to run a 9-week control freak group, whatever it is, any kind of groups, 3-day refresh, or like I said, a free group, a coaching sneak preview group, whatever it is, write it down on your calendar. If you don't have a specific date, write it down next to your calendar. If you aren't for sure you want to do something, but you're thinking about it, write it down. And again, we'll do like 2 minutes, and then I'll explain the next part. All right, and obviously you can kind of revisit this and plan out as well if you have more ideas come up. But now that you have somewhat of an idea of the groups you want to run and when they're starting, and again, if you don't know when they're starting, that's okay. But when are you going to start inviting to said groups? So if you don't have a specific date, are you going to start inviting 2, 3, 4 weeks beforehand, a week beforehand? If you do have a specific date, write on your calendar when you're going to start inviting to said groups, because then that kind of leaves like, oh shoot, I have a group starting in 2 days and I forgot I need to invite. You'll have a whole perfect little calendar and list to kind of help you with a game plan. So write on there when you want to start inviting to each group. Again, if you don't have a specific date, write how far in advance, and then we'll do that for about 2 minutes again, and then we'll revisit again. All right, so now you have when your groups are, when you're inviting to them, and then I want you to write on there also, like, so how I did it is right next to here, I have each week what I'm going to like post about. So am I gonna do invites in my post? Am I gonna talk like heavily that first week about Challenger, coaching opportunity? If you don't want to do it by week, you don't want to do it by day, just write down ideas of how you're going to show up in your feed as well to kind of correlate with what you have planned for the month. So again, like before and after, or how the challenge, like how your journey has helped, how it's progressed, opportunities you have, whatever it is, just jot down some ideas for your posting in your feed, because then you're not like totally stuck and in a brain fog when you're like, oh shoot, I need to make a post and you have no idea what you're going to post about. So we'll give it like a minute, just post down or jot down some post ideas. If you have a specific day that you want to talk about something on, like day one of a new program or finishing a program, write it on your calendar so you don't forget. And we'll do like a minute of this because you can always kind of revisit. All right, and then next, I want you to write on there if you have any goal, like coaching goals. Let's say you have a rank goal or a date that you want to hit certain volume by, or whatever it is, or a date each month that you want to hit Success Club by. I want you to write that on this calendar as well, because this is really going to be your reference calendar, or you're going to transfer it to a reference calendar if using a sheet of paper. Just to really keep you intentional throughout the first quarter, and again, do it again for all the other quarters, and just keep you going and focused, because it's really easy to get confused or off track or lose track of time, whatever it is. So write on there if you have any coaching goals. Again, if you have, hold on, honey, a certain date that you want to hit a certain Success Club points by, any rank advancement dates that you want to hit, any certain volume you want to hit by each month or at all, whatever it is, write that on a calendar. We'll take, again, like 2 minutes. As always, you can kind of revisit, and then I have like one more thing after that, and then you'll be free. All right, and then anything else I really kind of put on there is I put like my overall Success Club point goal. I put like virtual super weekends on there, posting ideas. I always try to do like a one-on-one call with all my coaches the first week of the month. Just anything goal-wise and that I want to accomplish that month is really nice to have in one spot. So that's kind of what I have for you guys. I hope that was somewhat helpful. let's go into 2021 intentionally and carry that out. Remember 2020, let's not totally write it off, even though it was just a very unpredictable year. And I hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe if you're somewhere it's snowing, because it is snowing pretty good here. And thank you for letting me lead like my first actual call I've done, or on this Team Boom call. I run them each week, but I have done a power hour, and this was on my bucket list for 2020. So right at the end of the year, I got it in. So thank you so very much. If you guys should be able to unmute yourself, otherwise I can try to unmute you, and then we have to boom it out, and then we'll be good. Maybe. Will it let you or no? No, no.
Hi, neighbor.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. Oh, there we got one. All right. We have some of us. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Thank you guys. Have a good night.